Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another edition of NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, and also RingsideNews.com, NoDQ&A's newest affiliate. I am back. I was actually not expecting to do a video today here on Christmas Eve, but I had to dust off the Russian Santa hat here that I'm wearing and do another video because there's a lot of news going on right now in the world of wrestling. Surprisingly, because normally it's dead around this time, but we got some big news. Batista is coming back to WWE. It is official, and I got a lot of questions here about Batista, and also Jeff Jarrett is gone from TNA. I will get to that a little bit later. Let's start off with the Batista news because I got literally hundreds of questions here regarding Batista, most of them the same type of question. So let's get started here with the first one today from Deadman299. Do you think WWE spoiling the Batista return is a good idea? They have only spoiled it a little bit. Greetings from Germany. A lot of people seem to have mixed feelings about this, if WWE made the right decision to air Batista's video promo and not wait until the Royal Rumble and have him return as a surprise. In my opinion, I think that it's best to do what they're doing. I think that yes, the Royal Rumble return would have been a nice surprise, but on the other hand, from a business perspective, I think it's better to announce it in advance and build up the anticipation. And number one, you can pop a rating for Raw, and number two, he comes out on the final Raw before the pay-per-view, announces he's in the Royal Rumble. I think that that will get a lot of excitement from people and perhaps will significantly increase the buy rate for the Royal Rumble. So time will tell, but I think that it's the right move from a business point of view. All right, this one comes from John316. Hey Aaron, happy holidays. So Batista returns on last night's Monday Night Raw before Royal Rumble. Batista returns on the last Raw before the Rumble. Is he back full time, or does he have the same deal as Brock Lesnar? Also, in which storyline do you think they will unleash the animal? Keep up the A+ show. Well, apparently he's coming back as a regular performer and not just a part-timer. He's advertised, obviously, for several house shows. That's how this whole thing leaked in the first place. He was prematurely advertised for upcoming live events. So he's going to be doing the house shows in addition to the TV and the pay-per-views. And at this point, it's expected that he will be around until the summer. He's got a movie coming out then, and he'll be out to promote that. So I think he'll at least be around from January, perhaps through SummerSlam. As far as what they have planned for him, obviously they got some big ideas for him, and he's going to be a major part of WrestleMania 30. There's some speculation that he'll be facing Randy Orton for the unified title. And by the way, I refuse to call it the WWE World title. It is the unified title. That's what the fans voted on, so damn it, that's what I'm calling it. And there's also been the talk about him possibly facing The Undertaker again. You know, there's so many different people that have been rumored to face The Undertaker WrestleMania. If it was me, I would either go with Batista versus Orton, or I think Batista versus Lesnar if you have something else in store for Undertaker. If you do Undertaker versus Cena, I would really like the idea of Lesnar versus Batista. And some people have been critical of that idea because they think it'll be a repeat of Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar. The difference is that both Lesnar and Goldberg were leaving WWE, and the fans were never going to give them a chance. So I think if you do something like Lesnar versus Batista at WrestleMania, I think the fans will be more into it, and I think that both guys will put more effort into the match as well. All right, this one comes from the Jobbernator. Hey Aaron, love the show and congrats on 400 episodes. With the chances of a Lesnar-Batista match, how much more likely now that Batista's back? Aren't you worried that if the match happens, the crowd will be dead for it, just like the matches with Triple H? Thanks. Well, you're comparing this match to the Lesnar Triple H matches. That is something that I think WWE might need to be concerned with. I think a lot of it will depend on the chemistry that they have. The fact is, Triple H and Brock Lesnar didn't have the chemistry in the ring together. It just didn't click. with Batista and Lesnar, it might work. I mean, both guys have similar styles and they're the same type of build. And, Batista's been doing MMA, so both of them have the MMA background. Um, I think with the right crowd and the right match that they have planned out, I think it could be successful. But yeah, certainly there is that concern. But it just depends on who you have in the ring. Some pairings work better than others. I mean, that's the way it is, and there's really no way to tell until it happens. All right, this one comes from CPW 1978. Thanks for the coolest wrestling dirt around. Do you see an Evolution reunion with possible Hall of Fame implications? Could Batista return as face and then go heel? It would be, quote, best for business. Well, I've talked about this in the previous video, one of the previous videos, about Evolution going into the Hall of Fame. I don't see it happening in the near future. I think if it happens, it'll be 10, 15 years down the line. But certainly an Evolution reunion, I think, is a possibility at some point during Batista's return. I think that initially he'll be returning as a babyface. Everyone's going to be cheering him when he returns. That's the way it usually is when somebody comes back from an extended hiatus. They get a huge pop, and it's just easy for them to be a babyface when they come back. But yeah, I would definitely love to see Batista go heel again at some point. I think that his run at the end of 2009 into 2010, I mean, that was the best stuff that he ever did, in my opinion. And I love the whole thing with the spotlight, and I just think he was tremendous as a heel. His promos were the best of his career as well. So I think that it would be a good idea to turn him heel at some point. But yeah, in the initial run, I think that it's obvious that he goes babyface. All right, this one comes from Kayfabe Candy Ass. The big question everyone wants answered: will an entire edition of No DQ&A video be dedicated to Kayfabe Candy Ass questions? No, that's not what he asked me, but I think somebody else did, and maybe one of these days I'll do it just to troll everybody. We'll see. But anyways, his legit question here: Aaron, with the return of Batista, what happens to the once bright career of Mason Ryan? That is a good question, and to be honest, I don't think it's looking too good for Mason Ryan, although I think that he was never going to go all that far looking like a Batista clone. The crowd was chanting Batista at him, and I think that he would need to change his look significantly. I felt that he needed to do that before Batista was coming back, but certainly now that Batista's back, I mean, Mason Ryan would absolutely need a complete makeover and a new look, and I don't know what the chances are of him getting another opportunity in WWE, especially with so many other guys that WWE's looking to push in 2014. Mason Ryan seems to be at the bottom of that list, unfortunately for him. All right, this one comes from White Sin. Hey Aaron, what was up with JBL hinting that Sin Cara is not the same person? I know he's a different wrestler, but isn't WWE trying to hide that? I think WWE realizes they can't really insult the fans' intelligence here, so they're making these inside jokes to the people that know it's a different Sin Cara and, not playing dumb about it. I think it's quite hilarious with JBL's commentary coming out there talking about how it's a better Sin Cara now. I mean, I find it to be really amusing and something that I think that the internet fans appreciate, that JBL's making these references. Yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot of casual fans that don't know it's a different guy, and I'm sure a lot of kids can't really tell the difference. But, I mean, I think most people know it's a different guy. You can tell by the height, you can tell by the tattoo, and, he works a little bit different. So, yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with it, and I find it to be one of the highlights of JBL's commentary as of late, actually. All right, that'll do it for this edition of No DQ&A video. Happy holidays. Hope you all enjoy your Christmas week here. Before I go, I got one more question here. And just as a reminder, go to NoDQ.com for all the latest news regarding Batista's return. And make sure you vote in the year-end awards. You still have about a week now to vote in the different categories. So now, let's get down to the last question here from Brown Barrett. A little hybrid, I guess, of Bad News Brown and Bad News Barrett, perhaps. Do you think Jeff Jarrett's departure from TNA is the final nail in TNA's coffin? I wouldn't go that far to say that it's the nail in the coffin for TNA. I think that Jeff Jarrett leaving is significant, but I don't think it's really going to make that much of a difference with TNA's overall product. The truth is, Jeff Jarrett hasn't had that big of a role in TNA as of late. He's been more of an office worker, and he hasn't been a television personality in, what, 2 years now? So it's not like it's that big of a deal on the outside. On the inside, it's a pretty big shakeup. I don't know what it means going forward. I just think that the company's trying to move in a different direction, and time will tell if this is a good thing or not. I do think that you need to have some new blood in there, and I've talked about this time and time again. The company needs a major overhaul, not just the talent on air, but also the people working behind the scenes. You need to have some fresh faces in there and some people that have a new vision of where to go with TNA and maybe have some new ideas. That's really what the company needs at this point. So if that means saying goodbye to the founder of TNA, I mean, it's very sad to see Jeff Jarrett go. He was one of the guys that founded TNA and built it, and he was a guy associated with TNA. So it's unfortunate that he's gone, but perhaps that's what's for the best with TNA going forward. So we'll see what happens with TNA. So with that being said, I'll see you guys next time for more No DQ&A video. Ho, ho, ho.